Okay, so we're going to take a seat on the mat, grabbing a little cushion or something. I'm going to move this so I can see. Taking cross legs or sitting on the knees, closing down the eyes, placing the hands palm up on the knees. Taking a breath. I'm going to join the ring finger and the thumb together in Surya Mudra. And we're going to begin by elongating the breath, breathing in for 1, breathing out for 1, breathing in for 2, breathing out for 2, breathing in for 3, breathing out for 3, breathing in for 4, breathing out for 4, breathing in for 5, and breathing out for 5. And we're going to continue with the elongated breath. We're going to just take a moment to thank ourselves for coming to the mat today. And performing this class together in advance. And these times, having a little lie-in on the weekend is somewhat sacred. So I would like to thank you for coming to class today. But also I find it's quite nice to get a little bit energized before we start the day. That can be equally as good for the mind and the body. And while we're here, if any thoughts crop into our mind, I'm going to take them, I'm going to place them on the pin board in the back of the brain. We're going to thank them for arising. And we're going to put a little pin in them because we can just pick them up later. Now the reason why I've got you doing Surya Mudra today is it's really good for inward reflection, and it's really good for creating balance in the brain. Something about touching the ring finger is the finger of marriage and love. And it just does a lot of things to lift the spirits and boost the production of happy hormones. And that's something I think we all need coming into February. And with the situation around us. And we're really lucky to be able to have this time together in class today. So maybe there's someone that you'd like to dedicate this class to, whether it's someone that you know, a loved one maybe, or someone across the world that you feel needs a bit of love, a bit of positivity. Sending out those positive vibes to those who need them. I'm going to drop the chin to the chest, just to get a little bit of extension in the back of the neck. I don't know about you, but my neck is always very stiff in the morning. I'm going to roll back the shoulders while we're here, lifting the head up to a neutral position, and just taking time to really actively get those shoulders down. When we spend all week hunching them up, the body can want to resist this. It's like, this is what it's used to now, but it's important to be able to create space here. We're going to join the hands together in Anjali Mudra. Prayer over heart. We're going to begin the class together with an Om. So we'll inhale and then exhale through the mouth. And then we'll inhale together and Om. Inhaling. Exhaling through the mouth. Inhaling. Tucking the chin into the chest, opening up the eyes. We're going to take the hands behind us on the mat, thumbs in towards the body. And we're going to pigeon open that chest here, taking the gaze up above and ahead of you. Really feeling those fingers extending and really feeling those shoulders being pushed back. Maybe the shoulder blades are starting to reach towards each other. And exhaling, we're going to round the spine, taking the hands either onto the knees or onto the floor ahead of you. And we're just going to round that spine, taking that mid-back, opening out towards the back of the mat. Tucking the chin into the chest. Opening the chest once again in pigeon. We're going to take the hands all the way up to the sky, really reaching out with those fingertips here, nice and long, really stretching, maybe going around with the wrist a couple of times, giving them a little bit of warming up. And maintaining this lovely straight back, we're going to take the arms down and we're going to bend them at the elbows into cactus. And here we can really feel those shoulder blades, they're starting to move towards each other. Really opening up here. Leaving the upper body where it is, we're going to join the hands behind the back, making a fist with the fingers. And just opening up that fist towards the sky, really getting from the floor upwards. And letting go of the hands, we're going to round that body once again, joining the hands in front of us. Really getting into that back here. Using those hands and that fist as a sort of way to pull us open. We want to pull away with the hands. We want to round that spine. Okay, lovely. Release the hands. We're going to take the right hand onto the left hand side of the head, left hand goes on the shoulder, creating some nice space here between the shoulder and the ear. Really making use of those hands here to create any extra space that maybe we just can't get to when we move around our neck by ourselves. Having that extra weight just lets gravity get involved. Inhaling up, swapping hands over, left hand on the right side of the head, right hand goes on the shoulder. And we're opening up here on the right side of the head now, on the neck. And it's a really nice stretch to start the day with. Inhaling up, taking that head, chin towards the chest now, and I bet it feels a lot easier now to just round that chin to the chest. I'm just going to take the hands onto the back of the head. And we can start to feel that weight in the head really starting to open up the back at the same time, even all the way down to the lower back. Letting the body to reach its full stretchy potential this morning. Releasing the hands, removing any cushions. We're going to come into our all fours position. Taking hands under shoulders, knees under hips, and we're just going to do a little wiggle, wiggling from side to side, wiggling with the head, wiggling with the hips and the shoulders. Lovely. And from here, we're going to send the belly down, send the hips high, sending the gaze up into our cow, keeping those toes nice and flat on the ground behind us. We're not tucking them just yet. Getting into that lovely lower back area here. And on an inhale, rounding the spine, coming into your cat, really sending that head down. Really opening up that space between the shoulder blades and the mid back and the lower back. And inhaling, coming back into our cow, sorry. We're going to use that wiggle motion once again, just wiggling open the hips, maybe taking it really exaggerated, wide, side to side here, getting into that hip and getting into that lower back curve. And exhaling, coming into our cat. And from here, maybe we're going to go rocking backwards and forwards, really getting into that stretch here. Maybe we want to tuck the toes and just make it a really nice active pose for the lower back. And getting the toes in there as well just means that we're really using all of our muscles as many as we can. Lovely. Coming back to a neutral spine now. And we're going to do a little bit of coordination here. So we're going to take the right hand and the left leg up together, stretching them nice and long, really lifting up with that heel to get that into that glute muscle. And we're going to tuck the two in together, knee to elbow. Exhale to send them back out again. Inhaling to tuck them in together. Exhaling to send them back out. Inhaling to tuck them in together. Exhaling to take the hand round and grabbing the foot into our hip opener here. Maintaining that flat back. Lovely. And from here, we're going to keep the knee bent. We're going to bring it through and we're going to pop it into a pigeon. Keeping the hands under, well, over the leg. Keeping that foot nice and flat. If you need to, you can pop a little brick or something, or a block, or a book underneath the hip. I can't get back into it now. There we go. Just to give you something to lean on if there's any space here. And we're nice and proud. And inhaling, we're going to try and take that foot in that hand, in the right hand, sorry. No, we're not. We're going to use this twisty one here. There we go. So left hand, right foot, opening up that hip. And releasing, coming back into our all fours position. And this time it goes left hand, right leg, sending them out away from each other. Inhale to tuck them in, give it a little tap. Exhale to send it back. Remembering to lift up that leg as much as we can to get into those glute muscles. Inhale to tuck them in together. Exhale to send them back out. And rounding that hand round to meet the foot. Opening up that hip. Lovely. And inhale, we're going to send that knee forward into our pigeon. Sending the left foot back, maybe taking a little block underneath the hip. Staying up on the hands here. A nice active pose. Inhale to grab, I keep doing the wrong hand. Grab right foot to left leg here. No, right hand to left leg. If it's uncomfortable, it's fine. If it's painful, don't do it. Maintaining that proud, puff out pigeon chest. We're really just focusing on waking up those hips. Exhale to release, removing the block. Sending ourselves back into our all fours position. We're going to take those hips down, take those knees down, further down the mat. Take those hands further away from you on the mat. I'm going to send down the chest into a puppy dog. The forearms come down. And we can either rest here on our forehead, on our head, or we can take the chin to the mat into our puppy dog. And this is really good for your hips and your back, and also that sort of like little weird muscle in your abs that, I don't know about you, but mine's twinging on the side. Lovely. And from here, we're going to look forward, bring the body forward, and we're going to come into our Sphinx pose. So all the body comes down, the chest lifts off the ground, the hands stay where they are, the forearms, fingers nice and spread out. It's a really nice pose to be in. Exhale to release and put the head onto the mat. We're going to take the hands facing towards the toes. Bringing up the chest once again. On an inhale, we're going to lift up the legs. Just the legs for now. Maybe you can get the knees off the ground. Maybe you can get a little bit of the thigh or the whole thigh. Really using those glute muscles here. Putting them to work on a Saturday morning. It's a big ask, but you'll feel great later. Exhale to release, coming onto your right cheek. Just for a little bit of a rest. Taking a breath, inhaling here. This time we're going to lift the legs and maybe the hands as well. Coming into a really nice lift here. Every inhale we take, we come a little bit higher. Every exhale, we sink a little bit. And exhaling to come all the way down, taking the left cheek on the mat. Waking up the toes a little bit here by just tapping them on the mat so they know they're about to do something cool. We're going to send those heels towards the bum. Taking the head a little bit off the mat, we're going to grab each foot with the hand, coming into a bow pose here, nice and awake. Inhaling to lift up those thighs, lift up the chest, really using the pelvis as our hinge point and our anchor point here. Inhaling to raise up, exhaling to get a little bit closer to the ground. Maybe coming up a little bit further on every inhale. If we can try and get those heels in towards the bum, get those knees together. And exhaling to release to the ground, coming back onto the right cheek. Going to wiggle with those hips. They've done some good work already this morning. Well done, hips. And we're going to send those hands underneath the shoulders, coming into our all fours position to remove any socks that you have on, as I do. And lifting up the knees, coming into our first downward dog of the day and pedaling it out. So really nice way to wake up the day. Coming onto the toes maybe, coming onto the heels, coming onto each foot, one at a time. Lovely. And we're going to look forward here. We're not going to do our usual. We're going to take the right foot up. Ooh, I need to come forward. Take the right foot up behind us. And we're just going to send it through to the outside edge of the mat, coming into a lizard pose on a high leg. So both of our hands are inside the foot. Coming into a low lunge by lowering that knee and flattening the foot. And we're going to pulse here. Doing some nice pulsing. Just forwards and backwards. Lovely. Inhaling here, we're going to open up that arm to the sky. The left arm goes up. Stacking those shoulders if we can. Exhale to release and come back down. The hands go back on the mat. The right hand goes up this time. And we come into a twist here on the right side. And lowering the hand to come back down again. Pulsing forwards, backwards in our lizard. Lifting up the foot. Lifting up the foot to join the other in our downward dog. Pedaling it out. Pedal, pedal, pedal. Looking forward now, we're going to do the same on the left side. So we're going to lift up that left leg. And we're going to bring it forward to the outside of the mat. Lowering the knee in our lizard. So both hands are on the inside of the foot. And we're just rocking forwards and backwards here. Opening up the hip. Lovely. And on an inhale, we're going to take that right hand up towards the ceiling. We're not going to fall over. Stacking the shoulders. If you need to, you can place a little block just next to your foot to give you some extra lift. Sometimes we're a little bit more flexible on one side than the other. Twisting open those arms, it's a really nice pose. Exhaling to release. Sending that right hand down, left hand comes up now. Lovely. Bringing up that foot, sending it back into our down dog. Lovely. And from here, we're going to look forward. We're going to use those nice springy toes and heels that we've been working with, and we're going to jump forward, coming into a forward fold here. And with a forward fold, we're going to take our hands onto the back of the head again, like we did in the beginning. Really let gravity open ourselves up. Maybe taking your rock side to side. Maybe you want to join the elbows together on the back of the head. And just letting that open up even more. Lovely. Skimming the hands onto the mat. We're going to just raise them up the body as we come up vertebra by vertebra. Lifting up the hands all the way towards the sky. Taking the gaze up. Coming onto our tiptoes here. Just to wake up those ankle muscles. And rocking back, maybe we'll come onto the heels just for a second. And sending it back up towards the toes. We're going to open out those arms into a cactus. I'm going to do it so you can see me. Using that nice proud pigeon. And joining the hands behind the body. Coming down onto our heels once again. We're going to hinge at the hips, coming forward, leaving the legs where they are, coming forward into a really nice fold with the hands behind the head. Lovely. Releasing the hands. We're in our forward fold again. And inhale, we're going to come back with the right leg, then the left into our plank. It's a good place to be. And exhale, we're going to send down those hips, bringing the chest in, touching the chin onto the mat, coming forward into our cobra. Keeping those toes nice and flat. Making sure that we're tucking in those elbows into the chest. The shoulders have space between the ears. Tucking those toes now, we're going to send our hips back into our down dog. Nice and slowly here, just in the beginning. Taking a breath. We're going to step forward with the left leg, then the right, in our forward fold. And we're just going to rock side to side, dragging those fingers across the floor. And placing the hands on the shins in our halfway lift. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale to send the hands all the way up. Joining Manjari Mudra prayer. Bring it down over the heart. Lovely. Inhale to come up. Hands go into prayer. Exhale to bring them through the midline of the body. Hinging at the hips, calming down into our forward fold. Inhale, Hands onto the shins, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, forward fold, stepping back with the left leg, then the right, coming into our plank. And keeping this lovely plank position here. Sending those heels towards the back of the mat, just to keep ourselves nice and straight. And sending the knees down, untucking the feet. The chest comes down, the chin comes down. We skim through, and we're in our cobra. Tucking those toes, sending the hips back into our down dog now. Looking forward, stepping forward with the right, then the left. We're in our down dog. And while we're here, we're going to take a bind, so 2 fingers and thumb around the big toes, using those elbows to really get into that stretch. If you need to, take a little bend in the knees. We want to get the chest onto the thighs. I'm going to do a little bend this morning. It's a really nice stretch to be in. Releasing the hands, releasing the knees. Hands come onto the shin. We look up. We're in our flat back, halfway lift. Exhale to forward fold once again. Inhale to come all the way up. Joining the hands together in Kali Mudra now, so pistol fingers. Really nice and tall. Exhaling to come over onto the right side here. Into a nice side bend. We're just leaving the hips and the legs where they are. Inhaling to come back to center. Nice and tall, nice and tall. Exhaling over to the left side. Lovely. Keeping the gaze just down in front of you. Yeah, we don't need to strain the neck. There we go. And inhaling to come up onto those tiptoes once again. We should be at the front of our mat. And we're going to walk backwards to the back of the mat. We're going to send those hands out in aeroplane, so calming down, pigeoning open that chest, coming with the hands behind us, palms facing towards the front, lowering down the heels. We're going to hinge at the hips, coming all the way forward. Into our forward fold, we're going to walk those hands all the way up into a down dog. We shouldn't need to pedal here, but I just quite like to do it. Lovely. And from here, we're going to come into and do a little bit of planking, a little bit of side planking. We're going to take that right hand into the center of the mat. Left hand comes off the mat, and we're going to take the feet to the inside and the outside edge into our side plank. And we just shuffle them open. And from here on our side plank, we can go feet in front of each other. We can go feet next to each other. We can lift a leg, or we can just take that bent knee, or take a bend in the knee underneath us, coming into a nice supported side plank here. Whichever one you feel like doing today. And we're going to meet in the supported side plank today. We're going to send the right hand off the mat. Left hand goes towards the left foot. Right hand goes over the head into a plank, into a gate, sorry. And the gaze comes over towards the left foot as well. It's a really nice position and a really nice stretch. Trying to keep that body in one straight line. I know I have a tendency to round in. We want to make sure that we're really getting into those side muscles. Inhaling to come back to our side plank. Taking those feet out once again. Nice and strong. And from here, we're going to take that left foot, bring it so that we're sort of bending the knee. The right foot stays where it is. Left foot comes forward. And we're just opening up further here, sending that left hand in a bind behind us to touch the right hip, if we can. So we're really getting into a nice little twist. Inhaling to come all the way back into our down dog here. Pedaling out, pedal, pedal, pedal. I'm going to go to the other side so you can see me on this side. And we're going to bring that left hand into the center of the mat. Right hand comes up, coming up onto the inside edge and the outside edge of the feet into our side plank. Something that I learned which is really helpful is to just round those hips exaggeratively up towards the sky into a C shape. So we're really staying in our plank and we're not collapsing. We can sort of easily go. Ugh. And the feet can either be in front of each other, next to each other, lifting up a leg, or we can just come with a bent leg and lifting up those hands or that hand. There we go. That's much better, isn't it? I much prefer this. It's way too, no, it's just too much. Lovely. And looking down, we're going to take that hand off the mat, sending the right hand towards the right foot. Left hand comes up and over the body into our gate. Making sure that we're, that's it, nice and straight in the shoulders, Heather, that looks great. Lovely. And coming back into our plank now, sending the left hand towards the mat, bringing those feet in together. And we're going to lift up the right leg and take the foot in front of us on the mat. It's just a nice little variation. I think you'll notice you get a little bit of glute stretch going on here. It's important with this knee to make sure that we're not bringing it too far either side or crunching forwards and backwards. It's a nice right angle. And if we can, we're going to take that right hand behind us in a bind, taking the gaze up towards the ceiling. And exhaling, coming back into our down dog. Pedaling out the feet. Taking the knees onto the mat nice and wide, and we're going to come into our child's pose. Really sinking that chest into the mat. Coming up. Releasing those knees back into our down dog here. We're going to send that right foot up into our three-legged dog nice and high. We're going to bend it at the hip, sending the heel in towards the bum, really opening it up. Looking forward, we're going to take the knee in, ever so controlled, in towards the front of the mat, coming into our lunge. Lovely. Hands are either side of the feet. And we're going to lower down with the knee. We'll go for a low lunge. Inhaling to look forward. Exhaling to send the hips back. Straighten the leg, taking the toes up towards the ceiling, coming into our half split here. Really feeling that hamstring nice and active. Looking forward, inhaling, bringing the hands forward. Coming into our low lunge. Keeping those back toes nice and active. Exhaling into our half split. Inhaling to come forward once again. We're going to bring the body up so it's not low down, it's a little bit higher. And keeping the left hand on the knee, the right hand is going to reach behind us for the leg. And maybe it can, maybe it can't. Maybe you need a strap or something. It can be really good to just use the strap here. She says, not being able to get the strap on my leg. If we need to just do this, that's fine. You good? And coming forward. Well, I think we're going to do something cool. We're going to lift up that knee, straightening out that leg into our pyramid now. Taking the hands up and above and ahead and grasping them together, we're going to hinge over that leg into our pyramid. Making sure that both of our feet have the toes pointing in one direction and they're on train tracks, so parallel with one another, so they're nice and stable. And looking forward, taking those hands nice and wide, we're going to send the weight into that standing front leg, coming into our warrior three, taking the hands either in Anjali Mudra or sending them out. And when we've had enough of that, we're going to send the hands onto the mat into our standing split now. Now with this, it's a really nice way to open up the leg. Maybe you want to give a little bend, just a little variation, why not? Maybe we can take one hand onto the leg. Maybe we can take two hands onto the leg. Maybe it's not your day today and you're like me and you're just falling over, that's fine. And bringing that leg to meet the right leg in our forward fold here. Taking maybe a whole palm now underneath the foot into our bind. Creating even more space. Sending those elbows out, chest onto the thighs, making a little bend if you need to in the knees. And removing the hands, we're going to walk those feet back into our downward dog. Lovely. And now for the left side, left foot comes up into our three-legged dog. The toes point towards the ground for now, keeping that hip closed. Sending it high and opening up the hip by bringing the heel in towards the bum. Lovely. Looking forward, we're going to send that knee in nice and curled in with control, coming up onto the toes in the back, bringing it forward before placing the foot down into our low lunge here. Hands are either side of the foot on the mat. Toes are tucked. And exhaling, coming into our half split, we're going to straighten that leg, send those toes up towards the ceiling. Inhaling to come forward back into our low lunge, gazing up and ahead of you. And inhaling, sending those hips back into our half split. And exhaling, coming forward into our low lunge. And from here, we're going to come up onto the thigh. So we're nice and active here. And while the right hand comes onto the thigh, the left hand is going to reach for that foot. And maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. Maybe you need a strap. Maybe you can just lift it a little bit off the ground, just like a couple of inches. The idea is just to get into that nice twist here. Maybe we just send that hand back. It's on the way there. It doesn't need to touch. Lovely. Releasing the foot now. And we're going to have a little bit of fun again. We're going to straighten that back leg, bring it forward a little bit, keeping those toes pointing forward, legs on train tracks, both legs are straightened. We're going to take both those hands and maybe take a bind in a different way today, taking it with the thumb that you don't normally have on top. Sending those hands up. With that fist, we're going to come forward as we lean over that standing leg, over that straightened leg at the front. Really getting into that nice back stretch here. Releasing the hands now, stepping forward a little bit with the back foot. We're going to come into our warrior three. Now warrior three is a nice closed hip, so the toes go towards the ground. The hands are in Anjali Mudra, or they're by the side of you in aeroplane. Ooh. I'm pulling all over the place. And when you've had enough of that, sending those hands down into our standing split. And maybe you can take one hand onto the ankle. Maybe you can take two hands onto the ankle. Maybe it's not your day and you just keep both hands where they are. And exhaling to lower down the foot to meet the other one. Lovely. Looking forward, we're going to take I'm going to say my right foot, but whichever foot you need to, so you're still facing the camera, into a wide-legged squat. Stepping into that squat, lovely. Remembering we're still folding forward here. And the feet are facing the diagonal edge of the mat. And the hands are in the middle. And maybe if you're finding that you can bend the elbows whilst keeping your hands on the mat, maybe you take the hands a little bit further back. So you're really getting into a lovely forward fold here. Lovely. And keeping that right hand in the center of the mat, the left hand is going to come up. And it's going to go into a nice twist here. Keeping those shoulders nice and stacked. Exhale to bring that left hand down. Right hand comes up into a twist. Bringing that hand down. We're going to walk the hands over to the right foot, bending that right leg to come into our little side lunge here. Sending those toes up towards the ceiling. If you can, coming up onto the heels of the right foot, and we're taking Anjali Mudra together. There we go. This is just a really nice way to round off all those lovely exercises we've done together. Placing the hands down, going to straighten that leg, and we're going to take the hands a little walk over to the left side now, coming into a side lunge on the left. Toes of the right foot come up towards the ceiling. If you can come onto the heel. If not, toes are fine. Sending the hands in Anjali Mudra. Lovely. Taking the hands onto the mat, straightening up that leg, coming back into our forward fold, wide leg. And the toes are facing the corner edges of the mat. The knees are a little bit bent. We're going to come up into our goddess. Hands are out to the side, straightening the legs. We're going to make sure that we're tucking in that pelvis and that bum. So we're really a nice equilibrium between two panes of glass. And we're going to bend the knees, coming into a squat. And just hanging out here before we straighten the legs again. Have a little wiggle, wiggle side to side. Inhaling to come down again with control into our goddess squat. And maybe we go a little deeper this time. And inhaling to come back. Wiggle, wiggle side to side. Inhaling to come, or exhaling, sorry, to come down into our goddess squat. And maybe we lift the heels if we can, with control. Sending the heels down, straightening the legs. Hands come behind the body. Once again, a little open of the chest, hinging at the hips, rolling down. Lovely. Releasing the hands, placing them on the mat. Then a heel toe those feet in. Coming into a yogi squat. The hands in Anjali Mudra. Using those elbows to open up the knees and the thighs. And I know that you struggle with coming up onto your flat feet, and that's fine. We can just be on our toes. You're on your flat feet. Nice. Yay! Yes, I love that. It's so nice when you get a little win like that, isn't it? Okay, placing those hands underneath us, straightening the legs to come into a nice seated position. Sending those feet out in front of you, removing any flesh from the bones here. Toes are up in Dandasana, hands are just resting on the thighs. The glute muscles are keeping us upright. The back is nice and straight. And we're going to take that left leg over the right, bringing the outside edge of the foot in the knee. And the right arm is going to fold over, bending at the elbow, tucking. Yeah, coming into like this is a less intense one. Just placing the right hand around the knee. There we go. Over to the left side, just leaning over or just looking. Getting that nice twist in the middle belly. Inhaling to release the legs and the hands. Exhaling to place the right foot now onto the outside edge of the left knee. Hand comes around to just wrap around the knee. Right hand is just behind us, keeping us nice and straight as we gaze over to the right side. inhaling to release the legs. Taking the knees in towards the chest. We're going to clasp the hands and we're just going to take the feet off the mat into a little cosmic egg. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Taking the head in to make ourselves a little egg. A really nice squeeze to have after a really intense practice. And taking those legs out again on an exhale, shuffling down. We're going to come onto our backs. The knees are on the chest. And we're going to take those knees now towards the sky. Feet are on the mat. We're going to make sure that our fingertips can touch the heels as we lay down. On an inhale, we're going to lift up the hips with control, using those glute muscles. If we can, we're going to roll those shoulders underneath the body. Just give us a little bit more leverage. And we're going to exhale, calm down, windscreen wiper the legs. And inhaling to come back up again into our bridge pose with the hips. And maybe the hips can come a little bit higher this time. Maybe we can take more of the shoulders in. Maybe we can even clasp the hands. And exhaling to calm down again. Again, windscreen wipering those legs. Inhaling, coming back up for the last time, clasping those hands underneath you, using that as our anchor point. Taking those knees in together, really getting into those glutes, using the glutes to push you up. And exhaling, calming all the way down. Rolling knees up onto chest, giving yourself a little back massage, rolling side to side. And sending those legs, 1, 2 on the mat, hands come down. We're just going to do a little squeeze. So making a fist with the feet, with the hands, pushing up with the glutes, taking up those leg muscles, flexing those arm muscles, the abs, the face, the chest, the shoulders, making a little lemon face, and release into our Shavasana. And just letting the body melt into the mat here. Using all of our relaxation. Just keep that breath nice and long. To catch it maybe from all the intensity of today's class. And we will close the class, but if we feel the need to just have a nice elongated Shavasana, by all means do. It's Saturday, it's grey, and we deserve it. So taking a little wiggle with the hands and feet, I'm going to roll over, knees on chest, onto the right side or the left, whichever is your favourite. Bringing ourselves back up into a seated position. Sending those hips back. Keep the back nice and straight. Keeping the chin tucked in, just for now. Hands come palm down on the shin, on the knees, to signify the end of practice. And taking the head up to a neutral spine, we're going to take Anjali Mudra together. Thanking ourselves and each other for coming to class today. Thanking our bodies for working really hard for us. And thanking our minds for allowing us to have some space away from everyday tasks to do something that's going to benefit us. Taking the hand to the third eye. The light in me sees the light in you. The strength in me honors the strength in you. Namaste. Thank you.